This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
It's really crazy, and the semis needs to slow down more.
Now at 6, a day after a semi slammed into several vehicles on I-65 near Whitestown, killing 3 people, including a baby. We look into the heavy traffic that area deals with, the steps the state is taking to ease the congestion.
And the truck driver who plowed into all the vehicles now charged with 3 counts of reckless homicide. Call 6 Investigates Kara Kenny looks into his past and finds a history of other driving problems.
But first at 6, the Boone County Sheriff's Office sending us a handwritten note from the semi-truck driver Matthew Small. He wrote, quote, "My heart and prayers are with the families. I am in agony over this whole ordeal," end quote. Boone County Sheriff Mike Nielsen also sent an email saying investigations like this could potentially take up to 6 months to fully investigate. We continue our team coverage focusing on the 3 people killed in this crash.
1-year-old Hadley Tomey, 21-year-old Mariah Tomey, and 19-year-old Kaylee Kirk were all killed. They're from Lebanon. RTV6's Troy Washington spoke to a family friend and learned more about the victims' lives.
Friends can't wrap their heads around it.
She was so young, and she had a 1-year-old, and it was crazy to hear.
It's the same reaction, disbelief over the loss of 21-year-old Mariah Tomey and her 1-year-old daughter, Hadley, along with a 19-year-old police identified as Kaylee Kirk.
She was always smiling and joking, and yeah, it seems surreal.
Jacob Bird worked with Tomey. That's why when he got a call from another friend telling him she'd been killed in an alleged distracted driving crash, it was tough to convince him it was true.
I didn't believe him.
Bird says it's just starting to sink in that the 3 are gone. Allegedly killed after investigators say this man, Matthew Small, smashed into the car the group was riding in, killing the family.
It crushed me.
Friends shared these photos with RTV6 of the 2. RTV6 found that both Kirk and Tomey graduated from Lebanon High School. According to the high school, both students were very involved during their time at the high school, and they will be truly missed by both students and members of the staff. Since Kirk and Tomey made such an impact on the school, counselors were made available to help anyone having a hard time dealing with the losses and just beginning the grieving process. Working for you in Boone County, Troy Washington, RTV6.
And Traders Point Christian Church is also open for prayer and counseling until 8 o'clock tonight.
Police say Matthew Small is regretful and upset for what happened. Call 6 Investigates has uncovered Small has a history of violations when it comes to his driving habits. Our Kara Kenny is working for you tonight, digging through his driving record. Kara's here in studio now with more on what she's learned. Kara.
Mark, we dug through Small's driving record all the way back until 2002 and found he's been warned many times about his driving. He has a history of speeding, following too closely, and reckless driving. Here's what we found when we checked his record in Indiana and his home state of Michigan. Matthew Small was driving his tractor trailer on I-69 near Carmel on July 8, 2019, when Indiana State Police pulled him over and ticketed him for following too closely in his truck. Carmel City Court fined him $225, which he paid back in November. Now, less than 2 months later, Small was arrested Sunday for reckless homicide after he plowed into traffic on I-65 near Whitestown, killing 3 people. Small is from Granville, Michigan, and we found he has a history of violations in that state while driving personally and professionally. In 2002, he was convicted of reckless driving in Branch County, and in 2004, driving on a suspended license. He paid fines in both cases, and both were in a personal vehicle. In 2013, Small was cited for failing to stop within a safe distance after a crash in a passenger car. In 2013, he was cited in Michigan for speeding in a car. In 2014, Small received a driver improvement letter from the state of Michigan, correspondence that warns drivers of unsafe driving habits. Also in 2014, Small was cited in a pickup truck for failing to make a proper stop. In 2015, Small got a speeding ticket after he was involved in a crash in a passenger car. No one was hurt in either the 2013 nor the 2015 crash, Michigan records show. Small got more speeding tickets in Grand Rapids in 2017 while driving his car, and in May 2019, Small was cited for speeding in a commercial vehicle while in Ohio. And we reached out to the trucking company where Small worked, VL Trucking, but we are still waiting to hear back. As Call 6 Investigates has found, it's quite possible for truck drivers to have a valid CDL, even with a history of violations involving their driving. Many states like Indiana follow federal regulations when it comes to whether a driver can be disqualified. Typically, it depends on the type of offense and whether the driver was in a commercial vehicle at the time of the violation, which is treated more harshly than if the driver was in a personal vehicle. Amanda.
And more team coverage. The area where the crash happened has been described as dangerous by several drivers we spoke with today. Megan Sanctorum is working for you to find out what changes could be on the way to help increase safety here.
As this Boone County community grows, so does the number of people traveling on the roads and using the I-65 Whitestown Parkway exit.
And Whitestown's been the largest growing community in Indiana, I think, for the last 3 years. So yeah, it's definitely seen a lot more backup than when I moved into this area.
Drivers we spoke with say those backups can make for some scary moments on the road.
It's really crazy.
This driver says she's even had some close calls herself.
Yes, we have several times.
And certain times are especially bad.
At work times and especially at church times on Sunday, there's a lot of backup I've seen.
Traders Point Christian Church draws thousands to the area. A spokesperson for the church tells us they work with local police departments to control traffic flow, but some say that's not enough. The state has also been watching growth in this area.
INDOT has done some things in the past, and we're constantly looking at improving it.
Between 2012 and 2015, additional travel, turn, and exit lanes were added. Over the next year, INDOT plans to add a new interchange between the Whitestown Parkway and State Road 267 exit. They also will redo the 267 interchange. An INDOT spokesperson says this will help relieve some of the traffic issues, but drivers still need to do their part as well.
We have to, as drivers, drive and put those distractions down. Pay attention, your full attention on the roadway each and every time we get behind that wheel.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
And Traders Point Christian Church, Whitestown Police, Zionsville Police, and the Boone County Sheriff all declined interviews today. Traders Point Christian Church released a statement to RTV6. They also answered our questions about traffic in the area in an email with us. We have that statement and information from the church on our website at theindychannel.com and on the RTV6 app. And we also have the semi-driver's handwritten note of remorse, his driving record, and all the background on this story, also on the RTV6 app and on the IndyChannel.com.
Now to breaking news we're following here at this hour, just into the RTV6 newsroom. IMPD confirming a person was shot on the city's north side, and they say the suspect may now be barricaded in someone's house. This is a live look at the scene on the 7800 block of Marquee Lane near 79th and Michigan Road. Paramedics rushed the victim to the hospital in serious condition. Again, officers say the suspected shooter may be barricaded in someone's home. As soon as we have more information here, we will bring it to you on the RTV6 app and right here on the news at 6.
It's a quiet evening here weather-wise across central Indiana as the sun is starting to set on this Monday. And here's a live look of the sunset in Bloomington. And you can see in southern locations here, there's not a cloud in the sky. A little more in the way of cloud cover here, though, in northern locations from Indy to the north. And that's where the temperatures are a little bit cooler. It's 34 in Peru, but now down to 39 in Bloomington. That's the same temperature in Indy as well as Columbus. If you have plans this evening, nothing really to worry about weather-wise. You'll just need to have the jacket handy. We have this band of cloud cover across the area, and off to our west there's a little rain snow mixture, but this will not impact us at all, so you can carry on with any Monday evening plans you may have. Again, it cools off though. Temperatures will be in the 30s from this point forward, and then eventually once we get to tomorrow morning as the kids head off to school, temperatures are in the 20s. We'll talk about that and a pretty big storm system, Amanda, heading our way by the end of the week, coming up in just a few minutes.
And new information about the investigation into a deadly crime spree across central Indiana that eventually led to the arrest of 3 people. Police say they solved this case quicker because of new technology and teamwork. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office has filed murder charges against Richard Garrett, Roshana Farrow, who are both pictured here, as well as Delance Hatcher, who is not pictured. On October 16th, Garrett, Hatcher, and Farrow are accused of killing Devin Gillespie in an apartment on Edgemere Court on the city's northeast side. The next day, October 17th, Garrett is accused of hitting and killing Anthony Mack with his car on Tacoma Avenue. The prosecutor's office says Garrett and Farrow were also arrested in Hamilton County in November in connection to the death of Fisher's Police K-9 Harley.
First and foremost on my mind is Harley and Officer Koopman, who lost his partner that night. We now know through this process and these investigations what exactly this suspect was involved in, and we now know that Harley gave his everything to protect us tomorrow, and the officers on the scene that night gave everything to protect our community and our regional partners from this criminal that walked among us this night.
IMPD and Fishers Police say this murderous crime spree would not have been solved without some new technology and cooperation between IMPD and the Fishers Police Department through an effort called the Crime Gun Intelligence Center. Call 6 Investigates got an inside look at work done at the Marion County Crime Lab on behalf of that Gun Crime Intelligence Center. Last year, the lab performed ballistics tests on more than 3,000 guns. The work done here helped police make more than 300 arrests, including in this newly solved crime spree. Our Rafael Sanchez got an inside look at what happens in the lab. His story tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. on Good Morning Indiana.
Investigators are looking into what triggered a well to collapse in Johnson County, killing one person. The well was under construction on the 4900 block of West 225 North in Bargersville. The victim's identity has not yet been released. We will continue to follow this story and bring you any updates on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com and right here on RTV6.
Now to the RTV6 news feed. It's now officially official.
The Penske Corporation owns Indianapolis Motor Speedway and much more. Of course, the Penske Corporation is run by legendary IndyCar owner Roger Penske. Today, his company announced it had completed its acquisition of Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the IndyCar Series, and IMS Productions. Roger Penske and Tony George announced the deal back in November. Penske is now the 4th owner in IMS history, preceded by Carl Fishers, Eddie Rickenbacker, as well as Tony Holman and Holman & Company. Roger Penske says his team is ready to hit the ground running and is promising some changes.
Developing now, Iraq's prime minister says he has met with the United States ambassador to say cooperation is key to prevent a war between the U.S. and Iran. Iraq's prime minister also says the U.S. must work with Iraq to withdraw American troops from Iraqi soil. Tensions in Iraq and the Middle East are high after the U.S. killed Iran's top general last week in an airstrike in Baghdad. The U.S. has threatened airstrikes inside Iran if the country retaliates for the killing. And Iran now says it won't abide by the terms of the 2015 nuclear agreement.
New information: an Anderson man is charged in the murders of 2 people found in a nature preserve at an abandoned farmhouse. They'll act as his own attorney. Daniel Lee Jones Sr. is charged in the deaths of Trinity Parker and David Phillips II, both of Anderson. Those murders happened in 2018. Jones is being held at a Delaware County jail. The Muncie Star-Press is reporting a judge has allowed Jones to act as his own attorney at trial in May. Several others are also charged in the case. The 2020 legislative session is underway at the State House.
The priorities the lawmakers have and the impact it could have on you. Plus, it's 2020 and the race for the White House is heating up. We talked to ABC News political director about one Hoosier that's gaining momentum.
You'll see quarterback Drew Brees carve up NFL defenses on a weekly basis with the New Orleans Saints. But once upon a time, he helped transform the Purdue University football team into a squad to be feared in the Big Ten. How this legendary Boilermaker is still impacting Purdue athletics today.
And it's a pretty quiet evening for us here across central Indiana as we'll be dealing with partly to mostly cloudy skies and temperatures that will be in the 30s. We'll enjoy this quiet weather for a few more days before some big changes head our way by the end of the week. We'll talk more about that coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast.
This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
Today was the official start of the 2020 legislative session, and lawmakers from all over Indiana returned to the State House and will work on new laws for the next 10 weeks. On day one, the House Republicans announced their legislative priorities for the session. Speaker Brian Bosma outlined the top items, one of which would hold schools and teachers harmless from students' low I-Learn test scores last year. The proposal would mean teachers and schools would not be penalized from the lower scores.
We're enthused about that. I know the Senate is in agreement on this issue as well. In fact, this is one of those issues that I think all 4 caucuses are in pretty strong agreement on.
The state switched to iLearn from iStep last year, and scores dropped as a result. But the top Democratic representative is criticizing the move, saying the whole process is flawed. Representative Phil Quinta said, quote, "This is a short-term fix to a long-term problem in our state. We've spent $133 million on standardized tests in the past 2 years and do not have much to show for it," end quote.
It's now 2020, and in November, people across the country will vote for the next president of the United States. And here in Indiana, May marks the presidential election primaries. Of course, since a Republican is already president, the main focus of the primaries will be on Democrats. And time is running out for Democratic candidates to make an impression on the American people. We caught up with ABC News political director Rick Klein, who gives his insight on who may begin to move up in the polls and likely more Hoosier influence on this election.
And the big story really is Mayor Pete Buttigieg, former mayor now from South Bend, who has an opportunity to shock the political world a month from now in Iowa. If he were to win that, it would change the complexion of his candidacy and maybe dictate the terms of the rest of the primaries that ensue after that. He's one of the real surprises of 2019. His challenge will be keeping that momentum going in 2020, when the fact is that candidates, including Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, are enormously strong. They have been wire to wire as the top two candidates. So someone has to knock them off the peg, and it would appear that Pete Buttigieg is probably the best position to do that a month out.
Indiana's presidential primary is Tuesday, May 5th. The presidential election is set for Tuesday, November 3rd.
All right, I searched the RTV6 Weather Now camera network, and this is by far the best sunset I can show you here in Bloomington with the clear skies. Sunset was officially just about 30-40 minutes ago. As you work your way to Indianapolis and points to the north, we're dealing with a little more in the way of cloud cover. Temperatures this evening are in the 30s and 40s, 39 in Indy, as well as Bloomington. 41 is the current temperature in Muncie, and you can see that band of cloud cover right here from Crawfordsville to Indianapolis. Off to the west, there is a little rain, snow mixture. But that will not impact us here in central Indiana. That is going to dive down to our south. It's going to be more of an issue for portions of Kentucky and then off to our east as we get into the day tomorrow. So it's Monday evening. If you do have plans tonight, we're talking about temperatures that'll be falling back down close to freezing by time we get to 10 p.m. with just a little more in the way of cloud cover that will be around. So you'll definitely need to have the jacket handy if you are going to be out and about. Tomorrow morning, as you head off to work and the kids head off to school, a little bit colder as temperatures will all be below freezing, as we'll be in the mid-20s, but conditions will be dry, so not anticipating any issues tomorrow as the kids head off to school. And then throughout the day tomorrow, it's another day that we get the temperatures back above normal. We've been above normal for our high temperature every single day so far this year in 2020, and we'll tack on another one for the day tomorrow that may briefly come to an end on Wednesday. Wednesday's a quiet day for us with lots of sunshine and temperatures in the mid-30s. But I want to jump ahead to the end of the week because a lot of rainfall is heading our way. Thursday, showers develop late. Friday, it's warm, 60 degrees, and that could be a record high temperature. 62 is the record. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But the main focus is going to be more on the rain here. It develops throughout the day on Thursday. Friday, it becomes heavy at times throughout the day, and it really continues all the way into Saturday. And it may end as a little bit of a light rain snow mixture mix, but I think the bigger issue will be the amount of rainfall more than the potential of any snow. 2 to 4 inches of rain and maybe some localized flooding will take place by the tail end of the weekend. Behind that cold front, though, we'll have temperatures that cool off into the 40s, so no dramatically colder temperatures here. The main focus again going forward, Dave, will be Friday into Saturday.
Todd, thanks. Been a lot of high marks with Butler basketball over the years, but when it comes to the ranking, well, this is the highest. New AP poll is out. Dogs ranked program high 6th. Remember, they're 14-1 and won 5 straight. They're off until Friday night when they host Providence. Gonzaga still the number 1. How about that? Hey, good evening to you. A crazy weekend in the NFL playoffs. Drew Brees and the Saints among those now out, and speculation about whether the soon-to-be 41-year-old will retire, ending a record-setting career. Of course, in West Lafayette, his legend remains set in stone. In fact, at Purdue, it's now more than ever. Brad Brown with the Sports Extra Spotlight.
Play action, Brees gonna bootleg it in. Nearly 2 decades have passed since Drew Brees led Purdue to a pinnacle of its football success.
We stuck together and we told ourselves that we were going to win this someday. We were going to win the Big Ten championship. We were going to go to the Rose Bowl, and our dreams have come true.
A record-setting college career capped with a Big Ten championship and an appearance in the Rose Bowl.
Brees on 2nd down and 10. Throws high into the air to the end zone. Touchdown.
I know that I did the best that I could, and I think everybody on the team knows they did the best that they could.
Brees will one day earn a spot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he continues to be a driving force behind the program's journey back to its former glory.
I think the relationships he built, not only with his teammates, but with his coaches and other folks in athletics and the whole campus meant a lot to him. And again, Purdue took a chance on him when no one else would.
In 2007, Drew and his wife Brittany donated $2 million to help open the Brees Academic Center. It's become a central piece in Purdue's growth of its athletic facilities.
Drew had a great experience both as a student and an athlete, and that's a bit cliche in some people's mind, but he was a management major, was an academic All-American, the academic All-American of the year, his senior year, so school was important to him.
Inside the recently opened Purdue Football Performance Center, reminders of Brees' college accolades are not hard to find.
Coach Tiller and Drew's time here showed us what's possible when you've got talented athletes, great coaching, and I think it provided the backdrop for us to be able to have the confidence to build a structure like this to help our football program hopefully return to those levels of achievement.
Now Brees is getting a chance to share the Purdue experience with his kids, and on occasion getting an invite to motivate the current crop of Boilermakers.
This place has a special place in my heart, and it's always an honor to come back. Play for each other. Look at the brother next to you, man. That's what it's all about. That's what you love most about this game. That's what I appreciate most about this game. I'm in my 19th season in the NFL. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I could play that long and be a part of so many great teams and develop so many great relationships. But that's what I think about when I walk away from this game. Man, I got brothers. I got brothers everywhere.
Yes, he does. Career leader in passing yards and passing touchdowns. He becomes a free agent March 18th. Pacers and more at 11 until the news at 6 continues.
916-1051. It's a quiet evening tonight and a quiet day tomorrow with a high of 44. A little colder on Wednesday with sunshine, then a lot of rain heads our way Friday into Saturday.
Live in the moment. Enjoy it now.
We'll be here at 7. See you then.